some of these people are people who I've admired since I was a little kid. The first person who really reached me was Bob Marley. I was a kid, and I remember at the family home we had his classic Exodus album, and I'd always requested that we put on, and we'd put it on. I learned in recent times is from beginning of side 2 back then, when a physical, for people who don't know, for a physical record with 2 sides, beginning of side 2, which is jamming. We're jamming, I wanna jam it with you. We're jamming, and I hope you like jamming too. Ain't no rules, ain't no vows. And I'd dance around the front room, just being moved by that. I'd listened to the whole album. I loved Bob Marley, his spirit, his magic, his energy.
Marley was a poet, a boyhood hero of mine. His music was a healer that stood the test of time. The river came and took him to the sacred ground. He knew the higher power, and you still can feel it now. What you say? The power of love, the power of life. The song of love will save your life. The power of justice, know what's right. The song of love will save our lives.
I like the background, I really like this, the organ.
Yes.
The organ in that, and when we come to finally mix it, we might at certain points bring that up. There's something about the call of the organ here that's really good.
And the thing about Marley records, when you really start to listen to them, you hear stuff going on that in the initial phase of listening to the wonderful lyrics and the wonderful melodies, that you get later on, you go, oh my goodness, listen to that keyboard, that organ, incredible guitar playing.
Okay, so we've paused that there, and it's interesting because I think that, I guess the challenge with all of these songs was, what I wanted to have is something of the artist in the room whilst we're working on it. So we played and we listened to some of the tracks, but it's interesting because we're not covering any of their songs. These are all original songs, but I wanted something with each artist, something of them, and so I think
prophecy, philosophy, don't forget your history. Poetry and unity, music is an energy. I and you and me, love and sensuality. Ecology, humanity, oneness, spirituality. Marley was a poet, a boyhood hero of mine. His music was a healer. It stood the test of time. Oh, the river came and took him to the sacred ground. He knew the higher power, and I still can feel it now. What you say? The power of love, the power of life. The song of love will save our life. Song of justice, know what's right. Songs of love will save our lives. Power of love, the power of life. Once again, song of love will save your life. Power of justice, know what's right.
So, I think I remember in that Exodus album, there was some of the additional instruments, like the organs and these little sounds, little things that's what I wanted, and I knew I wanted the authenticity of things like the drums and so on. So that's Marley was.
Marley was a poet. Oh yeah. Marley was a prophet. Sing it, sing it, sing it. heart, yeah. One last thing. Ooh, yeah. Once again.
Next up, John, is George, Ringo, Paul and John. Any ideas about who that's about?
Kings. Yes, absolutely. And of course, it's about my all-time heroes.
Right.
And it's a rather wonderful song because, again, it captures the essence
Right.
of the wonderful Beatles.
Yeah.
A very huge influence on me.
Right. And you remember them. I mean, for me, this is so exciting. I mean, for me, this is really exciting with this one because I knew that I had to have a song about the Beatles. And it's interesting, my entry point in the Beatles was actually through one of my best mates at school. Mm-hmm. And he said for one of his birthdays, I think his 16th birthday, buy me the Rubber Soul album. He was a huge fan. His parents probably grew up with them. Mm-hmm. And I knew the hits that were still being played on the radio, of course, at that time, but didn't know the albums or whatever. And you know how sometimes vicariously through somebody you become kind of a fan of them. Mm-hmm. So my old school friend Trevor, I'll give him a big shout out, especially now.
And I think what made them work was the dynamic that exists between John and Paul. So John and Paul was an exceptional musician, though both unschooled. But John had an edge to him, and he rubbed at Paul's softness and sweet romanticism.
Yeah. And here's an example clearly where with the combination of the two main songwriters and of all is far greater than the parts. It's just extraordinary, isn't
absolutely.
It? It's like one of those things where it just all comes together in the songwriting. And I loved when I heard quite recently that Paul in an interview saying, well, the reason for the song was so catchy, when they would write songs, they had to be able to remember them by the time that they got home.
That's right.
And so for me, with this song, George, seamlessly going into our song, George, Ringo, Paul and John, I knew that for me, with this song, what I wanted to do was that each song in this album needed to do something different. But I think with this one, I knew I wanted something that was really, really, really catchy. And I think from memory, I had a couple of stabs at ideas. And I remember I was on the tube and the melody came to me, and it's really difficult if you're on the tube. Most of the time I'll be on the street, so I can easily record it. So this thing, I had to keep it in my head this, let me take you by the hand, the signs of love, not just romance, high and high consciousness, from yesterday to nowhere, man. George, Ringo, Paul and John, and you were playing a little riff.
Well, then you come into your chorus, and so you go, very simple, but when you got that in a distorted guitar against the chorus.
Yeah. And I love that dum 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 dum, and then we've got dum dum.
That's
dum
right.
Let me take you by the hand to songs of love, not just romance. Higher and higher consciousness from yesterday to nowhere, man. George, Ringo, Paul and John. George, Ringo, Paul and John. George, Ringo, Paul and John. Let's celebrate, appreciate, you elevate us, George, Ringo, Paul and John. Clever prose and little deals, classic anthems we still sing across the universe, our spirits.
Yeah. And could you isolate for us just a little bit of the vocals?
Sure.
On that verse, yeah. So.
Little ditties, classic anthems we still sing across the universe, our spirit. Submarines will never sink again.
Yeah, so for me, I was having so much fun with this lyrically.
Submarines will
never sink it.
Yeah.
Was it clever prose and little ditties, classic anthems we'll still sing across the universe, our spirit. Submarines will never sink
Billy
it.
Connolly's favourite song, that.
Across the universe. Yes. So I think with this was such fun because that thing about the lyrics, the melody, and that justice, George, Ringo, Paul and John, and it being an in and out in a short period of time. That was my goal with this one.
It's an interesting thing. I had a guy in the studio yesterday,
Yeah.
about 19 years of age.
Yes.
and he was asking me about stuff, and I was talking about the Beatles.
Yeah.
And he said, "I love them," and I went, "There, we jumped the generations."
Yeah.
Because that's the real trick.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think it's interesting because your generation, you were there. My generation, parents had been there, or my good friend Trevor, his parents, so he'd grown up on it, and it was still very much on the radio, and of course, by that point, Bristol around having lots of 80s hits and so on, particularly in the earlier 80s. But it's interesting, isn't it? A legacy that never fades. There you have it, with that last line in there. There's something.
That's the truth of it. There's something. I mean, it's a cliche, but there is something timeless about their music making. And if we knew what it was, it wouldn't be worth anything. If we knew how to reproduce it.
Oh, and I think for me, what I love for me, it was interesting with this tribute album. There's some people who just had to be on there, and even though the Beatles weren't my first line of who's inspired me, there's just no question at all about that impact. And so this was a good one for me to kind of have fun and play with. So folks, if the album is out, then listen to George, Ringo, Paul, and John. And thank you, John.
Transform the music well around you. Your music will forever play. If all you need is love, found it. Let's say yeah. Let's say yeah. Let's say yeah. All the screaming and the feeling, rock and roll to Hall of Fame. Words meaning still debating, legacy that never fades. George, Ringo, Paul, and John.
And actually, the very, very first song that I wrote for this album was the song "Phoenix from the Ashes." And "Phoenix from the Ashes" was a song that I wrote. The idea is that this is a song written for Diana Ross. I wrote it a number of years ago now, and the idea is it's like a comeback song. It's like a comeback song. How can you say that about an artist who's just been there decade after decade? But the idea of this kind of song, and I don't want to say too much at this point about the songs. I want people to just be able to hear them and listen to them. So that was the very first song before I had this idea of the tribute album. And then this one, I think I had a vision for it in my head. And it was really interesting because it was written in these sequences. Lift me up, oh baby, I'm here for you, baby. Come on, lift me up. So remember I said, if you need me, call me. So that all came together. The chorus bit, Phoenix from the Ashes, came a little bit longer, but I love this idea, lift me up, lift me up. And I knew it needed to be a grand song because with Diana, you've got all these, especially in the early 70s, these grand songs that just these wonderful arrangements. And so what did you feel about this one? When I first sang it, because I'd have probably come in singing it, I probably wouldn't have come in with a musical demo. I would have sung it, maybe I may have layered different vocals. Can you remember what you thought about this song and if you got what I was trying to get at from very early on?
I never quite get, but it evolves into getting it. But I like the sweep of this song.
Yes.
It's probably the most cinematic of all the songs.
Yes, I'd say.
It just opens up now with that very, very gentle, whispering and things like that. And it just opens up and opens up. And I think that's a wonderful effect.
Yeah. Remember when I said, if you need me, call me. I'm still here. I'm still here. so I guess we had to work. I mean, one of the things that jumps out to me a lot that I love in this, one of the things I'm most proud of, is the bass, because I knew in my head, do-do-doom, do-do-doom, I knew how I wanted the that to sound.
Yeah, and of course, one of the most famous bass players ever, James Jefferson.
Yeah, Motown.
People like Paul McCartney takes his hat off,
Right.
you know, so
Yeah.
it's nice to have a distinctive bass line,
Yes.
you know. I'd like to think I'm almost as good as Ringo. Sorry, James.
But I loved how the bass is high on this.
Sure.
And I knew that figure.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't usually think about songs necessarily. I think of songs usually from a lyrical kind of perspective. But this one, I knew I really need to think about it from an arrangement point of view, from
Yes.
perhaps on the first times. You know, what was going to happen and then what's going to happen, do-do-doom, do. You know, all of these, nothing's by chance in this song. Doom, 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 doom.
Yep.
I love this bit. And of course all the lyrics point us to Diana.
Yeah, it's lovely little things just come in,
Yeah.
a little filigree.
Yeah. And there's a lovely string now. I don't know if you can bring up.
It's building up.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay, it's good.
yeah, I can hear.
So there's a lot of build in this song.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Some piano going.
Okay. So these are all of different tracks, different instruments. So there's a string. Oh, there's a string. Yeah.
There's a lot of strings. All this in turquoise is strings.
Yeah.
They're a bit exaggerated at the moment.
No, I really love it. No, I really love that. So I knew toward the end, this Phoenix from the Ashes, we needed to increase the tension,
Yes.
and then your brilliant piano work there. Love the piano you played there. Yeah, checking everything out.
Music lasts forever.
Push their backs.
Yeah.
Here in my life, lift me up.
Great piano, I love the piano. And then this final last,
Yes.
giving it an extra. And then just keep the tension going right to the end of the song. So, yeah. So, yeah, very proud of that one. Really proud of it. Thank you. No, lovely number. Yeah, great one. Great number.
That was great fun.
Yeah, good to work on. So that. And the next person who arrested me was Kate Bush in a completely different way. When I heard Wuthering Heights. So here we are back in the studio. We're listening to all the songs from the album. And this one is Sweet Kate, which is all about one of my favourite artists, Kate Bush. And
Mistaken music with tales from near and far. Sweet Kate, sweet Kate.
I don't know if you remember, John, but this was actually one of the very, very first songs that we started to work on.
Yep.
And because you've got a connection with EMI, with EMI, which Kate was on.
Yes,
EMI.
I was involved. Oh, it's a bit of a strange mix. I won't go into the whys and wherefores, but I was quite connected with the people in the admin section of EMI back in the Kate Bush days. And I was out having a pint with the guy one, and he said, everybody in the building loves her. And they just loved her music. They loved her as a human being. And she never came across as big time.
Wow.
And she always came in, brought cakes and things, and home cooking to staff members.
Wow. So it's ironic, I call this song Sweet Cakes. And I didn't know anything about the bringing cakes.
Sweet cake.
Sweet cake,
Right.
Well, it's funny you should also say that, because when I was singing this song, I was like, I don't want anyone to possibly I wanted to make sure I pronounced that ta of cake.
Yeah, cake would be a bit of an anticlimax.
But what we've got here with this artist is a serious, just a serious musician, an artist. Once there was an artist brighter than stars, Muse Mystic, and music with Tales from Near and Far. It was genuinely my wanting to pay homage to this person, one of the very first, after Bob Marley, one of the very first artists that I remember hearing and just being completely arrested by as an artist. And I've been a fan ever since, and certain moments really going back into the work and thinking just how incredible. And so for me with this piece, I wanted to have there are lots of moments in it where there are very, very, very subtle things that will point to Kate, including there's a lovely middle sequence. I wonder if we can, Joe, if we can bring it up. We'll just fast forward the track a little bit to the middle sequence, because in the middle sequence there's a bit of a breakdown, and in that, if you're a bit of a Kate Bush fan, there's a few pointers towards her. So we go into sequence. So there's lots of different sounds, and I'm not going to spoil it for everybody. But that sequence, if you are a bit of a Kate Bush fan, there's lots of stuff in there that you might be able to think, oh yeah, that's a reference to that song. That's a reference to that song. That's a reference song. Which, and there are moments of that.
That's part of the fun of doing the thing. Putting little clues in. To people. That people who know. I think that's the theme. I think that's the thread with the album. Whilst lots of the songs, they're all very different from each other, but that many of them have got these little pointers or lyrics that if you're a fan, you're going to appreciate. That's right.
Anything else that you'd say about this particular song to you, John? Did it present any particular kind of a challenge, or did it? Did you know where I was going?
If it doesn't present a challenge, it's not. If it doesn't present a challenge, it is a challenge.
Right.
So it's inverted. Of course, it's challenging. Right. And that's when I work hardest.
Right.
And I try. As again, it's trying to get your vision out, and obviously offer little thoughts along the way.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I don't want this to be my project or even our project. I want it to be your project, so that I've just put little,
Yes, and I guess with a song like this, for me, I think my memory is that there's something a little bit organic about it. I think with this song, one trusting. Some songs, I think that when you go about them, you're creating them in a way, and you're very, very conscious of. I mean, the Diana Ross one, we weren't talking about that long ago. Phoenix from the Ashes had a very, very clear sonically and arrangement-wise how it needed to be. With the Kate Bush one, I had a sense of a little bit the mood, but I had to kind of just trust what I was broadly trying to get at. And then in the studio process, kind of finding one's way to let the song almost make itself known to me. You know what I mean? That's what
if it were art, if it were painting, it'd be of a surreal nature, you know, and where it goes off in different little things. I just suddenly, the words of one of my heroes, George Martin, comes back to me. He says, "The good producer leads from behind." You know, and lets the artist breathe. And be themselves. I think that the last thing that I'd say about this one for me that I take away from this song is the mood, because for me there's a very melancholy kind of mood to this song. Now the one thing I will say is that line, Heathcliff still king of the mountain, is very important. Like Heathcliff, the first song, King of the Mountain, one of the last top 10 hits at the time of recording this, although of course there's been running up that hill, which became number one again. But this was a real great one to do, and lovely to just pay a little bit of a tribute to somebody who's just a phenomenal musician. So.